Hey, it's Thomas here, and today we're going to be taking a look at Tropic Marin's Pro-Reef salt. Although it might seem obvious, a good marine salt mix is an important part of a successful reef tank. Not only do we want a marine salt that provides alkalinity, calcium, and magnesium levels close to where we prefer to keep them in our individual tanks, but we also want a salt that will work for our personal style of reefing, whether that's storing mixed salt water for automated water changes or a quick mix it up and water change within a day. Tropic Marin's Pro-Reef salt is certainly for those reefers that want a high purity, clean, stable, low maintenance salt mix that works brilliantly for auto water changes and keeps its alkalinity, calcium, and magnesium values even when it's stored for weeks on end. With virtually no precipitation and pharma-grade components, it won't cause that crusty buildup in your salt mixing containers. It mixes up relatively fast, crystal clear, and consistently from the first scoop when you first crack open a new bucket, all the way to the last scoop at the end of that bucket. And it is definitely the salt for any reefer who wants to keep their major and minor elements at concentrations found in natural seawater. Pro-Reef is available in two sizes, an 80-gallon mix and a 200-gallon mix. And according to Randy's Investigates, to reach a salinity of 35 parts per thousand or 1.026 specific gravity in 5 gallons of water, which is what most reefers are going to be aiming for, you'll need approximately 722 grams of salt mix. And like the majority of salts that are available, this means the 200-gallon bucket will yield approximately 175 gallons of salt water at that 35 part per thousand salinity. Tropic Marin's Pro-Reef mixes up very quickly and easily compared to most other salt options. It is also crystal clear once it's mixed, and like I mentioned earlier, when tested for stratification or consistency of the salt mix from the first scoop to the last scoop of a large bucket, it performed incredibly well and proved to be a homogeneous mix that you can count on for consistent levels of those major and minor elements. When mixed to 35 parts per thousand, the levels for major elements that you can expect to achieve are an alkalinity of 7 to 8 DKH, a calcium level of 430 to 450 ppm, and a magnesium level between 1300 and 1350 ppm. And when it comes to those trace and minor elements, you will get the full range that's found in natural seawater, making this salt capable of carrying most reef tanks through their first 1 to 2 years without any need to dose trace elements. And all of those major, minor, and trace elements are at stable levels that will stay in solution, which means you can store your freshly mixed salt water for weeks on end and won't have precipitate building up in your salt mixing containers that you would otherwise need to clean out, which is exactly what makes Pro-Reef such a low maintenance salt mix and perfect for those reefers that are looking to do automated water changes. Tropic Marin also uses pharmaceutical-grade components, which means you don't have to worry about impurities that can cause browning or buildup that is often found along with precipitate. While there's no conclusive data to say that the brownish stuff that's left behind is going to cause issues for our reef tanks, I, for one, prefer the peace of mind of not having to think about it at all and just using a pharma-grade salt that's super clean. While Tropic Marin salts are some of the most spendy, you might be surprised at how close they come when they're compared to other salts all mixed to that same 35 part per thousand salinity. Pro-Reef comes in at just around 55 cents per gallon, while all but the least expensive salt options are just behind it at roughly 50 cents per gallon, which works out to only a couple of bucks a month on your average 100-gallon reef tank, making it a deceivingly affordable upgrade, which has even more cost savings when you consider that mixing pumps and heaters will likely last longer since they won't be getting bogged up with precipitate and impurities. BRS has done some pretty extensive testing on salt at this point, and Tropic Marin's Pro-Reef has performed extremely well across the entire board, either taking first place or tying for first place. It is the go-to salt for the reef tanks at BRS headquarters and also what I'm using for my reef tank. If Tropic Marin's Pro-Reef matches your reefing mantra, you can go ahead and pick up a bucket for yourself by clicking right here.